You know, I thought I had a title and an intro for this, but this pile of crap leaves me speechless sometimes, and not always for good reasons. This right here, folks, is my pinnacle of technology 1991 era Cutlass Sierra. A lot of you probably ain't even seen an Oldsmobile, to be honest. Some of you are younger than this thing. It's a little older than me even. I'm only 26, so, you know. Anyway, this is my first car. I don't think I've ever done a video on it. I tried recording something on it in the past, but I think I ended up deleting it. Right now she sits parked in my dad's backyard, which is essentially a little mini junkyard here in bumfuck Ohio. Anyway, I'm trying to get it out of here. It's just been sitting because I didn't know why she was stalling out on me. It was my first car. It taught me how to drive. I drove her to work around the corner every day. Fucking one day she just started shutting off on me, and I parked it because I got tired of it. I replaced a couple electronics, didn't do nothing, so couldn't figure it out. Codes weren't popping up for nothing. That was helping. I switched out everything, still codes were popping up, you know, typical GM stuff. But this car is pretty good still, so I kept her around. Didn't junk it. It only needs minor rust repair. The body's fairly straight. The engine runs good. The transmission runs good. There's not much you can ask for more in a free car, you know what I mean? So I finally got a new job, and I've been making a little bit of money, so we threw some dineros at this thing. It's sitting on jack stands in the mud right now. A lot of you probably are going to be baffled that I'm even working on this thing in these conditions. Some of you are probably screaming at the wood planks and that, but you know what? Don't watch then if you don't want to see that, but I'm not getting under it today, so don't worry. Regardless, this is a hell of an example of a 3300 GM motor. I don't know what these things are made of, but it's like unobtainium because it's got like 200 some thousand miles on it, and I swear it runs like a 350 Chevy. It's just top. So the only things I got to do really right now to get her on the road are, well, insurance and license plates for one, tires, brakes, which I have brakes in the trunk, and I got to get the radiator fan hooked up. A lot of the wiring's junk in here. I found the reason she's probably stalling is there's an oil pressure cutoff switch in this engine, where if your engine gets to low oil pressure or your oil runs out, it cuts the fuel pump to stop damage to the engine. Every time this thing stalled on me, that's what happened. She just shut off and it wouldn't crank. I mean, it wouldn't start. It would crank, but it would no fuel pressure. And fuel pump was brand new. Everything else was fine. So I'm like, maybe it's that oil pressure switch. And we pulled the fuel tank out because I don't want it anymore. It's full of holes. And I have a fuel cell in the trunk now. And we're going to wire that up. And then that'll be bypassing the oil pressure cutoff switch. So as long as we put new oil in it and run an actual oil gauge on the dash, I'm not concerned about that. I think she's going to run perfectly fine. That being said, I just need to hook up a fan. We got a little bit of welding to do. I got an exhaust system to set up. Brakes, like I said. Some holes in the floor to fix, as the typical A-body GM rust has happened in the seat floor pans here. So I got to fix that, weld a new seat in place. And I think that's pretty much it. I have some other things I want to do, little things. We got a switch panel here to run some of the new accessories, since I want to just bypass a lot of the bad wiring in this. You know, in this kind of a car, you don't tear the whole thing apart and do it right. You get her on the road and you get it buffed up. You know what I mean? You don't go the full 9 miles, whatever you want to say, and fix it up completely. You know. It's worth it to keep this kind of a vehicle, but it's not worth it to restore this kind of vehicle. You do what they call a Restomod, and you just get her on the road and get her running. Maybe I just care a little bit more about it because it was my first car and it was free, and it kind of taught me how to drive too. I essentially just hopped into this thing with no experience behind the wheel and drove it to work perfectly fine. So, you know, I turned a little too hard and she rolled over almost, you know, on the wheels. And it's like, it teaches you how to drive in these cars. It's got no traction. It's got no ABS, no stability control. It does at least have power steering. That's probably the only thing it has. The AC, it did have an option, and also had a cruise control and all that, but none of that works anymore. This is like a 3-owner car. That's one of the reasons I'm holding on to it as well. because you don't really get that very much. And with how straight the body is on it, the rust under the chassis is easily repairable and fixable. I'm not worried about any of that. I wish I could fire her up, but it needs a lot of work. It's raining today, as you can see, and I've already been doing a little bit of work. I pulled some of the seat posts out from in there to try to get it cleaned up. Been trying to get some wiring done on it to get the fan hooked up and all that. I only get like 1 or 2 days off a week, you know, from work, as most people do. And I should be having a cameraman to come and assist with filming and wrenching on this thing, so hopefully there will be videos posted on it soon, other than this. I do have a plan for side pipes on it. I bought some exhaust parts from Thrush, and hopefully this thing sounds like a V8 when I'm done. I've heard some pretty interesting V6s on the internet, and I think I'll be blowing people away with how this thing sounds. Yeah, anyway. Hope you like the video. This is just a little introduction to my side project. It's probably going to take a while to get it on the road, but I'm hoping to see her before winter, so stay tuned.